What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about some PlayStation State of Play / Showcase rumors, and this time, not the positive kind. Last we talked, and specifically PlayStation-related and June-ish related, we talked about the potential of, okay, State of Play or Showcase, right? They're going back and forth. This was the rumor. Now, this was Jeff Grubb, and I think it's important to bring this up. He has specifically with PlayStation events, like literally, you got to be pretty specific, but PlayStation events, he's actually really good, and he's gotten dates right before, he's gotten kind of scopes of things right before, so, you know, when he says something about a PlayStation event, I'm definitely more inclined to listen, specifically even to him, about that than I am other things, okay? So, last we talked, that's what he was saying, that they were debating between a State of Play or a Showcase, and that it was, you know, it could happen that May, June type period, but that PlayStation themselves don't even know, right? They're debating back and forth. Well, okay, now we have Nate the Hate, and I would argue he's probably better. I would say, you know, if you're doing like a tier list of insiders, Jeff Grubb's pretty okay. I know, again, like people will say he's pretty bad. He's definitely gotten some things wrong, but I'd say he's definitely in the good category. Nate the Hate's the step up, okay? So that's something to just remember as we go through here. If I'm going to listen to anybody over Jeff Grubb, this is one of the people I would listen to. So he was on Reset Era, and he actually answered several different people, all kind of asking the same thing. Have you heard of any Sony shows compared to last year? It's very quiet. He says, I have not. Then you had someone say, normally insiders like Jeff Grubb or himself hear about Sony events a month or more in advance. And then he even speculates then they probably are going to skip July and August and will do their next show in September. And again, because of the month thing, that they wouldn't maybe do it in May or June. And Nate the Hate responded to that too and said, I still haven't heard anything about a May event from Sony for this year. So specifically coming from him, he's talking about not hearing anything, right? Now there's this other insider that has also, and I would not put this person in the same category as Grubb or Nate the Hate, okay? Granted, but there's this insider, John Harker, who has gotten a few things right in the past, and he was asked, if I were to just guess, they will probably target one for September, and he says, indeed. To be fair, because I see people running with this, you know, in a lot of different directions, mainly towards the negative side, and, you know, I guess that's fine to have that kind of doom and gloom. Sony hasn't necessarily given us any reason to be super excited about their imminent show, but, you know, these people have not necessarily said no, right? I think that's kind of the difference between what I'm reading, like them literally typing into these sites, versus what I see some of these outlets or just, you know, different forums and stuff writing as headlines. Like, these are people that are not saying it's not happening. They're saying that they haven't heard it. And they can be different things. Now, I'm not, like, I don't want to go too far either side, right? I don't want to get super like, okay, well, that means nothing, and for sure they're still going to have a show in May or June. We are actually, I was going to say halfway, then I look at the calendar. No. We're almost done. We're almost done with May. I really do think that Grubb or Nate the Hate or somebody would have heard about it by now if it was in May. So at this point, it's June or what, right? Now, again, like the most reading into anything that I would do is that one comment that brought up like the July-August thing and that they would skip it. And if they don't do it in May or June, then it's just going to go to September. And Nate the Hate talks about, again, like he hasn't heard anything, right? Or at least not yet. That would be, if I were to read into anything, that's what it would be reading into, where it's like, okay, like maybe they are going to skip the entire time. I got to be real. I just don't see it happening. Is it possible they skip it all? For sure. I mean, you never want to close that door, the door of negativity, because no, honestly, like what have they done? Again, what have they done recently to show us that we should be, you know, they've had good things in these shows. Like, you know, obviously they've gone 2+ years now without doing a showcase, and that showcase was terrible, but, you know, there's good sometimes put into terrible shows, you know, just overall. But no, I mean, like where we're at now, you can't close that door, but also I feel like most people would just be flabbergasted, right? There's a new word for me. Like, could you believe it? I guess, again, the answer is probably yes. Could you believe they would skip this summer? I think a lot of people would answer yes, but you would also, I think, answer yes in such a negative, you know, way, like kind of an exhausted way, right? Where it's like, well, they really shouldn't. It's more along the lines of they haven't heard anything. And again, I mean, that is negative. Like, up until this point, that is negative. And I mean, as we get closer to June, I keep saying I just can't believe this or that. Again, like we keep saying that over and over. But Summer Game Fest is Summer Game Fest. It has potential to be big. And even if it's not big, it'll be fine. So you got that. And then the Xbox event, they've crushed it. Like, they've done so well, specifically the last, 2 years. And I think even before then. But the last 2 years have been awesome. And I feel like this year is going to be awesome. They're on a roll. They just really are. Can play, and I keep bringing this up too. Also, Nintendo's releasing a console. So you're having a console launch, you're having Summer Game Fest, and you're having the Xbox event. I believe, 4 or 5 days apart? Like, all of those things happen within a 4 or 5 day span. If PlayStation just lets June go with releasing Death Stranding 2, which that is a big deal, and okay, I'll give that to them, right? But it comes from Hideo Kojima. So, you have that. That's great, and that should help. That definitely should help, especially going into the summer, and then we'll see where they take it from there. Ghost of Yotei, etc. But I don't know. How can that be it, right? Like, because you're going to have Xbox probably show 20 to 30 games. You're going to have Summer Game Fest do whatever. Yeah, you could show some of your games at Summer Game Fest, but come on. And I mean, like, what's probably going to happen is it's just going to be that contracted state of play, right? Where they have to do a state of play to fill the contracts of these third-party studios. They have maybe one or two of their own things there, and overall, it's fine, but it's not really what we wanted. That's most likely what's going to happen, at least in my mind. We'll see. And I don't want to be Mr. Negative, and honestly, most times I'm not, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, at least right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.